Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Admiral Markets. My name is Chris, and we're going to focus on a strategy webinar here at Admiral Markets. Actually looking at the last day of September, the 30th of September, and then tomorrow, a new quarter, a new month, and the last quarter, in fact, of 2015. So before we start this webinar, though, be aware that this is intended for a global audience, but may not be suitable for everyone. Therefore, please take a look at admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity to find out information about that and if it's suitable for you. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Therefore, please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is not advice and is for informational and educational purposes only. And by continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer. And you are also aware of the risk involved when trading. Alrighty, take a look at admiralmarkets.com. The website has a lot to offer. For instance, analytics, education, promotions, and of course a MT4 Supreme Edition. Has a lot of bonus features. Take a look at that. So today's focus is going to be on strategy. And before we actually do that, let me take a look at this. We got, I think, ADP on the US later today. And we have some German news coming up, unemployment rate. And their ADP. So those are probably the biggest two things for today. Oh, there's also Euro unemployment rate at 10 o'clock. That's about an hour from now, hour and 15 minutes. And let's take a quick look at the heat map. I don't think there was a lot of movement yesterday. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see much. New Zealand maybe, okay. New Zealand seems to be first. Ironically, that doesn't happen too often. Euro third, pound was a weaker move. Third here, Euro second. Swissy, dollar very low, the lowest. Not that surprising perhaps, but didn't expect it to be lower than Swissy maybe. Let's see, or am I reading it wrong? No. All right, so gives us some idea. All right. Now later this week, the dollar does have an NFP news on Friday, if I remember correctly, and unemployment rate. Alrighty, euro dollar. Well, it didn't get to my target. Maybe should have been a bit more cautious about 112.75 area, which I knew would be resistance. It's just that I didn't expect it to be perhaps as big of a resistance. I mean, that we made a fall like this, not surprising, but the rally after that was quite weak. So I'm indeed out of that trade, out of the long that I took, based basically here on this pullback around 111.59, I think. And I got out about, well, let me check. It's easier. Let's see. 112.26. Not that great, actually. Was not so patient, but could have gotten a bit more there. But anyhow, it didn't give another move up, right? It gave a bit of a bounce here, as you can see, but it didn't go to my 113 higher. So ultimately, getting a bit of weakness. We're kind of in a triangle at the moment when looking at this resistance and this support like that. And we're going back to the tunnel, the long-term moving averages yet again. And not so interesting at this moment, I would say. Let's put on the Camarilla levels. We'll combine Camarilla. I'm not sure, what kind of strategy I want to actually talk about today yet. So if you have any preferences, let me know. But just analyzing the charts now, and let's see where the Camarilla levels are. Oh, L3 is right at this tunnel. So I don't know, maybe bouncing spot. It could be a bouncing spot. Well, I can keep an eye on it. I mean, it's not jumping for joy. It is getting back to support. Even on an hourly, you can see that. But the moving averages are very shaky, very sideways, intertwined. So I don't think it's a great setup. but still maybe worth monitoring. I don't know, 15-minute chart perhaps, 2 bullish candles in a row, or a 1 hour candlestick pattern perhaps, but nothing that great. What do you think? I see. Good morning, Beverly. If you have a particular view on the euro dollar, let me know, but I think it's quite choppy. Let's see if there's something better. Now this pound USD didn't get the follow through I wanted to. This was the engulfing twin. We still got a bullish candle after that. In fact, then some 2 sideways candles and ultimately some downside, and we didn't get the rebound up. And well, it's still, I would say, in a very vulnerable spot. Will it break this trend line? We got to break out to the downside. If it breaks this support line, probably that downtrend will continue then in that case. And let's see this daily. We're actually trying to break through this daily zone as well. And there could be maybe some intraday continuation. I wouldn't take any swing trades to the downside personally, but there could be some intraday downside left. Kind of a difficult zone because prices stayed here really already for about 3 days. With a bit more downside pressure than upside, obviously. So it's looking like a descending wedge chart pattern at the moment. I probably wouldn't trade it either way at this point. Let's see. I went out of that trade as well about, let's see, around here as it made a pullback before the trading day closed. I still survived this downside, in fact, and then it's because I had a stop loss below this bottom, and I survived that, got the bounce up, and then took it out. Because anyhow, I didn't expect much upside right here with Asian session in front of us. I didn't expect that. So upon that rebound up, I decided to exit in the sense that, yeah, there was not much really to be expected. Let me open my drawing tool 1 second. Right here. So that's also just a question of looking at, you know, what kind of session has ended and what session is left. And if pound dollar goes into Asian session, we didn't expect too much. So I probably wouldn't trade the pound dollar either. even more so than the euro probably at the moment. Let's see if the dollar yen is something else. Dollar yen is getting the rebound. We talked about it yesterday here, that it could go back to the band or the tunnel, which it did. It actually could now retrace higher, I think, considering this formation, maybe some ABC zigzag. No, I'm not sure if I'm really jumping for joy to trade this to the upside, to be honest. Let's see, just because of the fact that I'm not expecting a very big upside. $50 fib, for instance, 120.25 could easily be resistance. That's around the corner. So, and we're right at the 120 level. Where price is 119.98. So no. Also, that one doesn't really seem that exciting. Okay, so let's continue. Let's take a look at the Aussie. Aussie made it up to the 21 band, but I talked about the moving averages using the 21 band as a support of resistance. Obviously, if a price moves this quickly to the upside, there's always a danger sign that it could get to the tunnel. And you know, if you use a 2-candle rule, we didn't get it on the hourly, and it did move to the tunnel eventually, and there it did find that resistance. So it could be either of the two. Sometimes it doesn't have to be the band. Probably the double bottom made that go up higher. Who knows why, but in any case, it had a lot of bounce and it went through the band. Didn't really stop there too much before just going up to the tunnel. Tunnel ultimately did provide downside. Now, if we wait for 2 candles, that would be actually here, right? But if 2 candles in the opposite direction already bring price right down to the band, well, then you got to be careful because then most of the time it will act as support. So it could be better to wait for the next bounce, which is here. So maybe some of you took that short. Not myself, actually, but I think it's still possible to do so. Let's see. Maybe Ozzy's one of the better ones. Well, target is a bit limited with all these bottoms here in play. Probably would. This is a fairly good momentum so far. Let's see. Probably keep an eye on this 5-minute chart. This is going to make a rebound back up. It's going to make a retrace. But depending on how far it can move down, if it does retrace, it could be a good short. So I'll keep an eye on this Aussie 5-minute chart. Kiwi. Let's take a look at Camarilla. All right. Probably bounce off the pivot point. Let's go to pound yen. All right. Pound yen had an ABC zigzag and a continuation of the trend, and again a strong upside here. Only 2 candles though, so it could be a spike instead of really a sustainable upside momentum. If we look at the 4-hour chart, strong engulfing twins, but also strong downtrend. Price is at relatively close to a bottom. Bearish daily candles. Well, I think here too, I don't want to seem repetitive, but here too, both sides may be a bit doubtful because of this support layer that is still valid. Bullish candle here. If I wanted to think reversal, I might even think long, but price is certainly in a strong, hefty downside. Is there any divergence? Well, there is on the hourly chart between these bottoms, and price has not gotten back to the tunnel. And we know that if there's divergence on the hourly or higher, there's a good chance of price getting to the tunnel on a lower time frame, especially 4-hour or higher. On a lower time frame, like 1 hour or lower, I would like to preferably see double divergence before expecting that. So yeah, there is maybe a chance for price to get up to the tunnel, but it is a reversal trade, and that always has its risks. There is a big support level on the daily chart, which would add another confluence point. There is some reason perhaps to expect a bit of a bounce. Candle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 did not break this bottom. So I'm gathering a bit more confluence points that there could be a bounce to the upside. What could maybe be a bit better is to wait for the break of this fractal, this resistance level, as a potential breakout trade up to the tunnel and perhaps up to this target. Let's take a look at the targets. What are they? The -272 and the -61.8. Both are valid, both are near the tunnel. Sometimes it stops a bit shy of the tunnel, sometimes it goes through the tunnel. So from that point of view, both seem okay. So from that point of view, that could maybe be the best to wait for the breakout, or even a reversal trade right here. I mean, it doesn't look that great looking at price action at the moment. So it could be good to keep an eye on this 5-minute chart maybe. It is not a great trade. Obviously, it's a risky reversal trade. It would also depend on the pound, which has news event and is moving down quickly with a strong bearish candle. That's actually a pretty strong hourly candle. So the pound yen idea might have to throw it out of the window. Alrighty, yeah. With the pound, I mean, not that I want to trade the pound right now. Anyhow, there's a very slow downside, corrective downside here, and we're right at the bottom of the triangle. But that price action could indicate that the pound yen maybe is upside could be a bit risky. But anyhow, that's the only idea I have at the moment. Let me see dollar CAD. Dollar CAD could be interesting. We're getting a bounce off the 15-minute tunnel. And we're trying to break above the band again, which typically means if we just break out of the band for the first time, we'll probably hook back to it. Just like, for instance, actually, yesterday we were talking about the euro dollar, remember? And the fact that, let's see, here, price was here, and was talking about the fact that it can make a three-wave down to the tunnel. It actually, not only did that, it made one more dip, in fact. Before here, it finally broke above that band. So typically when you break out the first time, it's going to hook back to it. So that could be interesting on the dollar CAD. So I'll keep this one in mind, pound yen in mind, Aussie perhaps. All right, euro odd band also didn't work too much, but the tunnel just missed the tunnel, but eventually, I mean, roughly gave there a bounce. Pound odd was not in a bouncing spot anyhow. Euro yen seems quite choppy. All right, let me just again think about some other crosses perhaps that might be interesting. I don't know. Let me take a look at New Zealand. DAX back at the bottom, I see. Alrighty, that was a quick scan. Let's see. Beverly's asking if you get back to support, would that be a safer place to re-enter from? Let's see. No, I'm not sure. 3 minutes ago, let me think which pair that could be. Which one was that? Euro odd? Maybe. Good morning, Caitlin. Pound yen. Got it. think it's already at a potential bouncing spot in the sense that roughly this is valid. Especially if let's see, this level breaks, I wouldn't really be much enthusiastic about a long anymore. That's 181.18. It could be a bouncing spot here. Let's see. Certainly some things to look for. Let me take a look at pound again. Not too big of a fan of I mean, for the pound yen upside, this pound dollar downside hourly candle is not looking that great, but we're getting some stronger upside here. A bit of a decent bullish bounce. Let me put on the Kimberley levels. Five is already bullishly aligned. 15 is at the tunnel already for the fourth time or so. If it hits the tunnel that often, I mean, it could be an indication that the downside is struggling. Well, ultimately, it's if you look at the risk reward, will it bounce? We never know, do we? No one knows. But if a tight stop loss below this 15-minute fractal is used at about 181.35-ish, it's about a 25 risk. And the target is H5 and a -272 target at 182.90, which gives about 130 potential. So from our perspective, it's a 5-to-1 at the moment. Okay, there's a very tight stop loss, but that's the risk. But the reward would be a 5-to-1. And even if the trade only works in 1 in 3 times, in the long run, money is made on the trade, I guess. Will it work in 1 in 3 times? Probably. Maybe even if it's only 1 out of 4 times, in fact. What might be a better idea? I guess waiting really for the 5-minute chart, maybe. Just two 5-minute candles that are showing bullish. Because the pound is now really pushing through, or about to. Not yet, but okay, the Aussie, let's see. Aussie candle number 9 at the moment. Dollar CAD, making hook back indeed. Although it could still go higher and then make a bigger pullback, actually. Okay, I'll take a look at the 1 hour, the 1 minute chart. See if we get a bounce at the tunnel at the 1 minute. Maybe even valid for the Aussie, in fact. Oh, look at that. What just happened? It went down and up again very quickly. Only disadvantage of waiting for a second candle is obviously it's going to eat up some of that space, but anyone who did take 60 is up already, in fact. But who knows for how long, let's see. In any case, if there is a second candle and it ends here, I'll probably rather wait for a bit of a pullback, maybe even my 5-minute rule, because now it's actually should be bouncing into some resistance. Maybe for a dip like that, this could be maybe the better buy. So something to definitely keep an eye on. Let's see. Now, if I use Fibonacci sequence levels, let's take a look. Oh, here. I need this one. All right, there we go. Then we went up to the third level. So the fourth level would be about 183.29. That would be a potential for upside. The downside, let's take a look. We are at close to the fifth level. So if it does break below L3, I would say, there could be a good swing trade down to the sixth level here. That's a pretty big space. That could be a good swing trade. Let's see, morning star formation, candle closes bullish. On the 15 maybe, here. Or the hourly. No problem, Keito. Yeah, if the band is so close, then of course it's different. It might be wiser to wait for a small dip back or actually for the breakout. Alrighty, let's see. Euro yen, let's take a look. Euro yen, I don't know. I'm sure, there's some potential downside if it breaks, for instance, this line. Maybe even upside if it breaks this line. So it's that whole triangle formation that's keeping it quite unsure. And both ways, up and down, I see momentum. And 1 hour is pretty consolidating at the moment. Moving averages are on top of each other like that. Yeah, so from that point of view, there are a couple of things I really don't like about it. Now your question is actually different. You said, could Euro yen proceed to go down? Let's see, we got this support line right in here. I would answer that with it's a triangle. It could really break either way. I mean, ultimately, 4 hour maybe is a bit more bearishly aligned. The daily is about to be. Which way this breaks out, I would have to really do some daily wave counting probably, which I don't do often on the euro yen. And even if it breaks down, it could still rebound back up again, something like this, for instance, and then go down again. The market makes a lot of waves, so I wouldn't dare to say which one seems more likely at the moment. But I mean, the 4-hour is bearishly aligned, so yes, maybe that's true. There could be a bit better chance of a downside break. Let's see, 50-minute chart. Yeah, true. Morningstar, 50-minute strong candle close. And 4-hour chart, we can see really we can see that they're kind of like getting squeezed, the tunnel on the band. So it's getting into maybe a bit of a pressure cooker point. Let me put the Fibonacci sequence levels on. All right, we have daily divergence, double divergence, so we could get back to the tunnel, or single divergence probably. Yeah, it looks good. Let's see, from this point of view, I might wait for a hook back to even a 5-minute fib. Let's see. It'll probably make a push, and then I would wait for the pullback personally. But it makes sense to even take it here. I can see your point. It's just that it's right at this resistance. Maybe we'd rather wait for the break of that and a pullback. But I'm diving into detail, so maybe it will not make that pullback. That's the risk. Pound yen got the second candle. That's great. So it could be a long, but I'd rather wait for here too to let resistance do a bit of its work and charm by pushing it lower and then look for the bounce. As already discussed, dollar CAD is approaching the tunnel. AUD USD is approaching the tunnel. Of course, that would indicate perhaps that the Aussie will also go up with the Kiwi. So let me take a look at the AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand is moving down, so maybe those two are showing divergence. In the sense that Kiwi is moving up, Aussie may be down. Support level is close by. Euro dollar not getting a bounce yet. Pound dollar still in that zone, still hasn't broken support. Dollar CAD at tunnel, but pushing. So I have to wait for that. See, that's why pending orders at tunnels not good. Price can push through them. They're just indications, unless there's maybe a 5 other things or something like that. All right, that looks good for Catalan. Nice push through, nice 1-minute candle. And we got about, let's see, this is candle number 1312, not touching the 21 EMA band. So if it goes back to the 1-minute band, it could be a good bouncing spot. breaking the second level would mean there's a chance to get to the third level, which is about 50 pips left. Yeah, it looks interesting. So 1 minute world, 5 minute world, any hook back to the band would be interesting in my opinion. We'll take a look at the pound yen again. You see we're getting a rejection at that band a bit. Let's see, this is candle only number 3 though. So it's going to take some time. So maybe in the meantime we can do something else. Let's see, Caitlin's TP is at 45 pips. Caitlin took it somewhere around here, I think. Around 75, I think. So 45 pips would bring it up to 64.20, I think. Nice. Looking good. Let's see. Making a small retracement now. So last time, about 2 weeks ago, I talked about the Camarilla indicator. So maybe we can take a look now at the historical Camarilla levels. Let me, in fact, let me think which pair could be good. Well, why not the pound indeed? Let's take a look at maybe, no, let's see. Let's use this one. And let me add a historical Camarilla level. 1 second. Maybe I went somewhere else. 1 second. I thought it was at the H, but maybe it's, yeah, here it is. Alrighty, there we go. So this is useful because you can take a look at which levels were respected. Let's go to the 15. Oh, we cannot see it on the 15. Yeah, good. So here you can see L3. The orange one is the, should be the pivot, I think. Yeah. L3 pivot point, ultimately not broken. Too much resistance. Here too, the L3 not broken. Here too, L3. And roughly, in this case, no, that's the H3, sorry. Excuse me. H3 not broken, H3 not broken. Here, pivot H3 not broken. So you can see it's a pretty important level in the downtrend. And the target, L4, in this case, L3, L4, L3. Here it stayed between those levels the whole day. Here is in trending mode and eventually did break L3, went down past L4. This one went past L5. Stayed between L3 and H3. So this one H4, H4, H5, H3 down to L5. And often when you have a big day like this, you can see move past L5, and then the next day it was slow and hardly even touched the Camarilla level. Sometimes that can happen, right? So I think you get the point. You can see if the trend is down, really L3 pivot points, sorry, H3 pivot points become strong resistance zones. And the target could be anywhere really around L3, L4, L5, even past L5. And you can see that the L5 really gets past if the range, of course, is smaller. If the range is a bit bigger, L4 will be more of a guideline. But it's interesting to look back like that. Something that you can definitely do on your own. You don't need me for that. But I just wanted to point that out to you. If you're interested in getting the indicator, just send me an email. You can make a good back test by going back, close your eyes, or choose a date and go back, and then slowly go forward. And you can keep the moving averages on, or take them off, or use something else to help your decisions with. That's pretty useful. So in this case, if we break the L3, I would say there's a chance to get down to the L5. So that's also important for the pound yen. Let's see if it breaks or not. Pound yen, obviously, is also part of it. There's a dollar yen, which is pushing up. Alrighty, let's see. 1 minute world. Could be already a follow through from the 21 band. But it didn't really get into the band yet. So it was not difficult to trade. Just missed it. Therefore, probably rather wait still for the 5-minute band. I mean, 1 minute band is really quite a low time frame. And often enough, it does get back to the 5, except, at times like where it's really, really moving fast, it could happen, like here. Then it eventually does go back again. And considering the bigger consolidation here, I do think that there's a decent chance it gets back to the 5-minute band. I'll wait. Yeah, it makes sense to wait for that, I think. Pound yen is still bouncing. Candle 1, 2, 3, 4. At least one more candle. We'll take a look at the euro pound here. Euro pound is actually showing a bit of bearishness at the moment. Price action, still bullish moving averages. 1 hour chart is trying to break through the band. Bit of a mixture here. Let's see. Nothing really that interesting. Let's see, pound yen 181.70. Beverly's in that trade. So let's see. Hopefully it goes well. Where's your stop loss, Beverly? I honestly probably don't see much better things. Maybe the Kiwi only. Oh, yeah, the dollar CAD. The dollar CAD went to the tunnel, but then bounced back at the tunnel right now. In fact, let's see, 5-minute world, 15-minute world. Could be a hook back, could be a break, pullback. Five-minute chart is a bit mismatched though. Kiwi still looks better actually. $181.45. Okay, cool. So Beverly went for the tighter one below this 1 hour bottom, and TP at 182.70. Yeah, that's good. Good target. Not too ambitious. 100 pips versus 25. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a bit messy 5-minute world, but about 2 minutes left for me. Without without any doubt, there's a lot of bearishness in this. But we also see, as I already discussed earlier, some things that could indicate that it's time for a reversal. Obviously, it's good to have a 4-to-1 reward to risk because we definitely need it to compensate the chance that it will fail just because of the strength of the downtrend that is in play at the moment. Let's see, Caitlin is asking about the lot sizes. ECN should be minimum, a mini, sorry. But it is indeed a bit strange that it says open 01. Maybe it's a typo. I guess it could be good just to check. Maybe send an email to support, but I don't think it's micro. But I mean, it could be good to check. Maybe I'm wrong. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I would try it too. It has its risks. Let's see, there is a news event as well. Be aware of that. So let's see. Now, fingers crossed. Let's see if it works out. Back to the QE. Still not back at the 5-minute band, and you never know. It could actually hit Caitlin's target before it gets back to my band, and that's fine. Both could happen. Caitlin hits his target. This goes back to the band, and maybe I'll still get my bounce to the upside. Pound still hanging in there. All right, I don't see much to look at, and I don't want to bore you by just looking at these charts. So let's make maybe a bit more productive use of this time. How about any particular topic you want to take a look at today? I was thinking, well, let me first ask you, do you have any particular thing in mind? Alrighty, maybe, I don't know, I have a couple of ideas, but okay, let's take a look at tunneling. Tunnel. And the fact that I use a tunnel not only for divergence, right? That's the target if there's divergence or double divergence, but also it's kind of the restart moment. When price gets back there, the trend is restarting, or we get a reversal. So that's why I use sequence levels from the tunnel. And I start counting from the tunnel. One second, folks, I just write down that he's asking something. All right, so from that point of view, I like to look for breakouts. The more space, the best spaces are typically the third level away from the tunnel. And the third level is depending on what time frame we're looking at. If it's less than an hour, the third one is in fact, I'll show you. The third one is here, it is 34 pips. That's typically when price starts to accelerate a bit more. On a 1 hour chart or more, it is actually 144. 144. When it goes below or above 144, 144 pips away from the tunnel, that's when it starts to that's when you get a breakout. So from this point of view, the euro dollar actually went through the L3. It actually went through our third Fibonacci level. Didn't get quite there to the fourth one yet. That could be actually a reason to suspect that the euro dollar could make maybe one more fall on a 5-minute chart here. Let's see, from a 5-minute point of view, we had a pretty strong downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles at the moment. Which means that on a 1-minute time frame, there could be a bouncing spot at the tunnel, for instance. Did we have divergence on a 1-minute? No, not really. Anyhow, it's still back at the tunnel, which could be a bouncing spot for further downside down to this target. On a 50-minute world, we're seeing actually the price went through the tunnel and is made a pretty good downside as well. Let's see, 10th candle. So this could still be resistance spot now for that one more fall right there. Now, the more time frames we use, of course, that could be that analysis could get watered down because of higher support, and that's nothing wrong with that. If you see something like this, it might be good to throw out the 5-minute plan on the window, because ultimately, the higher time frames do have a very big support and resistance effect. So just because of that, it could be worth filtering out the whole idea. Probably indeed better. But in theory, if it would be a better situation in a higher time frame, then that could be a reversal spot back down. Now, I wouldn't say so with the euro dollar. Let's see if there's any other good example. Let's see. Yeah, Ketan indeed. Now, he was actually asking where about something else, but I'm not sure. I don't think he's in here. Let's see. The odd USD. All right. You see, that's the third level. Gets acceleration between the third and the fourth. So below 144, down to 233, and almost down to 377. So if it breaks below this bottom, what would be the next target? We got a pretty good space here. That is valid. That space is valid as long as price does not get to the tunnel. Why? Because if it gets back to the tunnel, I don't use this point anymore. I will use this point now again. So it resets. So there's a very good space if price doesn't get to the tunnel. All right, BT is asking, how can I be sure that when I enter the reversal, that it really reversed rather than stopped out? Not sure if I understand your question. No, I'm not sure if I do. Can you rephrase it maybe? I'm not following it actually. All right, Kiwi struggling just a bit. Let's see if it can make a smaller dip again. So anyhow, back to the tunnel idea. Now with reversals, I also use this Fibonacci sequence level. In that case, I'm not looking for the tunnel, I'm using the bottom obviously. In this case, you can see that the Kiwi has hit the third level and is still trying to push up. So if it breaks this, it does have the space up to the fourth. And then perhaps even the fifth. Let's see, here's from the tunnel again. 1, 2, 3. Space to the fourth, boom. Space to the fifth. So if it breaks again above the 21 band, it hasn't hit the tunnel yet, then there is this space as well still left. If it hits the tunnel, there's again a reset. So those are good levels, I think, to remember, from the EMA perspective. How about the 4-hour chart? Let's take a look. Dollar yen. One, two, three, third level. Yeah, you can see the big breakout will be here, wouldn't it? But there's a good chance we'll get back to the tunnel again. But all right, pound yen is moving a bit up. Let's see. Beverly is up 13, I a bit less. Anyone who took it here could be up already a lot more. It could be 25 already. That's the disadvantage if you take it early. And the Kiwi's still actually not moving forward. A bit of a bearish candle, needs a bit more pullback from me. So anyhow, to finish that tunnel story, basically anytime you get a price to the tunnel in a trending mode, it could be a very good spot to put that sequence level, start calculating where is 144 from the tunnel, and if it breaks above that, typically, especially the second time, you have a potential for a pretty big move. Muni Rai, not sure what you mean with moving average PIRD. What is PIRD? Ah, period. Got it. I'm using 21 EMA. Let me write it down for you. 21 EMA, close, low, high. That's the band. And the tunnel is a 144, 169 EMA close. Both 144, 169. Most welcome, no problem. And that's why when it gets back to the tunnel, you're not going to see price. If it gets back to the tunnel often, that's what I want to say, then it's just not really in a very big trending mode, obviously. And you're going to get price, you're not going to get far breakouts with the sequence. Let's take a look at this New Zealand again. Take this bottom in play. Let's see where it got to. 1, 2, 3. Didn't get past the third, did it? All right. So let's do that again. Let's see. Although you could easily take the bottom in this case as well, but okay. Let's do that. Then it probably got a bit further, didn't it? It got up to the fourth one. And that's typical for a range. It will stay at the third if you measure from the tunnel. Could go to the fourth if you measure from the bottom, indeed. Let's take this one again. It's just typical kind of oscillating movement that it does. Here it kind of stops at the third as well. Could most likely be the fourth from here again. Let's see. Yep. And that's typical with the range. Now, the indicator that you see here, it's actually a script. It's something that Ned and I have developed. And it just makes it a bit easier, perhaps. Although it's not difficult to count 144, especially if you just take this crosshair and start counting. So it's not a big deal. Here on the pound Swissy, let's see. All right, price went down to the fourth, past the third easily, and is down to the fourth. Now, unfortunately, there's divergence, which means price should go back to the tunnel. So, but if it does break below this, there could be double divergence in the sense, and it might be maybe a move down to halfway to fourth and the fifth. Because of the divergence, I wouldn't necessarily aim for the fifth level. If there's no divergence, I would. There's a bit of a difference there. Because there's divergence, the breakout could be a bit weak. Ultimately here, there was a good space between 3 and 4, and there is between 4 and 5. It's just that the downside was so weak that there's divergence. And when there's divergence, the real estate price goes back to the long term. So not sure how much space it has here. Preferably, when price does move from 3 to 4, there is no divergence, and then there's a higher chance it will get to 5 and maybe even down to 6. Alrighty, folks. Anything particular pair you have maybe in mind at this point? Anything that you find interesting to look at? We can go back and do the tunnel testing on the hourly chart. You will see that. Let's see where the pound yen is. We can also look at the downside here. The pound yen. Oh, we already did that actually. Okay. Let's take a look at pound yen. Why not pound yen? Let me refresh this. All right. Let's see, pound yen here at the tunnel. Okay, where did we get the breakout? The third, goes up to the fourth, goes up to the fifth. Let's take a look at this one. Let's see, broke the third, gets the acceleration to fourth, then to fifth, goes even further than that. Now this one, you can really count twice. You can count from here, from the bottom, because it's a reversal, and gets its acceleration here, hit a bit here, and here. But you can recount it again after it bounces off the tunnel and start to count here. And there we get a break again, 1, 2, 3, up to fourth, and then up to the fifth. All right, this was a big downside. This really accelerated far, as you can see, once it broke below 3, down to 4, down to 5, down to 6, down to even 7. That's a big move. Can happen on the pound yen. It even went further than that, but didn't get quite to 8 probably. Although, yeah, it was close to it though. So that was a major move, beginning of September. Yeah, that's good, Beverly. Taking, I think 1, 2, it's probably ideal. I mean, 3 maybe is still okay, but I know that there's some traders that like to basket trade. And, from that point of view, if you take small risks, I can see it's possible, but I'd rather take it like 1 or 2 at a time, max 3. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, folks, I don't know. There's if you have any questions about the tunnel and the sequence kind of idea, you could even use it for this, for instance, like that. You know, 5-minute trade, right? We're at okay. We just hit the second level. How much is that? That's 21 pips. So for a big breakout, we need to get above 3 up to 4 here. That's the 5-minute world though, but we can do the same for the 1-hour world and say, okay, you can use this one or this one, depends. We can try both. Now we're at the second. So we're really not in a position of a big breakout as yet, unless we get up to the third, up to the fourth perhaps. But it doesn't mean it cannot make it from the second to third. It's just we're not in a, it could be still a game over. It's just not we're in a very big impulse as yet. And once again on the pound yen, let's see, it did hit the third, and the big space would I guess be between 3 and 4. So with my long, I'm a bit early because I don't know if it's breaking above 3. And I'm already positioning myself before that. And probably the more patient setup would be to wait for price to go up like this and then maybe hook back and then take it like that. Or it could be a scale it. Small part now, small part later on. Alrighty, folks. Let's see. We got webinars tonight with Ned. He's going to take a look. Again, continuing his price action trading school. It's going to be a whole year, every second Wednesday. And he's going to start from the ground up. He already had 2. This is only the 3rd, in fact. So you have plenty of time to catch up those 2 and follow along with this whole course on the price action trading school, starting from more beginning, all the way from the beginning to advanced. And just started, so you have the time to join. Then tomorrow we're going to take a look at patterns and pattern hunting and chart patterns basically in general. That's both at 5 p.m. London time. And we'll be back then again next week with the same schedule. Recap on Monday, etc. And live webinars and also my recap video on Monday, etc. And you can check out analysis as well. Got the wave analysis up. Here you can see euro dollar in a bit of a triangle, pound dollar downtrend channel, dollar yen in a triangle, but also other technical analysis like this. Here, technical overview, this is yesterday. You can check that out as well. Pound pairs, 2 updates in a day, yesterday. And yeah, thank you indeed. Yeah, Munurai, another webinar today with Ned tonight. This is an exception. Today and tomorrow, we got 2 weeks of live webinars going on. So if you're interested in seeing us trade HARP, our method, using range bars and Heikin-Ashi candles, indeed, thanks for that. We got a webinar today at 1 p.m. UK time. That's noon GMT. And just send me an email. Chris, I'll write that down like this. Here we go. CHRIS _ surname at hotmail.com. And join us then. All right. It's only going to be this week because it's a promotion. Alrighty. Well, thanks, Munurai. Thanks, Beverly. Thanks, everyone else for being here, and wish you good trading. Cheers, everyone.